All right, welcome back to No Cap Sports Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Robinson, with my man David Medina over here, and we're going to do our mock draft 2.0. How you doing today, David?
Doing extra fine this week. Last week is school ever, unless I do my master's, which I don't think I'm going to do, to be honest. So, yeah, at the moment, last week is school, and it's kind of weird. It's a weird feeling.
Congratulations. Have fun at graduation, and I'll be joining you in a few more weeks. I still got a few more weeks of school, but it is also my last semester as well. But getting to this mock draft, we've been hearing some stuff about the Jaguars coming out, so let's get straight into it. We're going to be doing a predictive mock draft, what we think will happen, not what we would do if we were in the GM position. So what we think will happen, David has odds, I have evens. David, you up with the first overall pick?
And the Jaguars, we've been hearing all the rumors today, and you've been talking about it, just kind of the way that Trayvon Walker is the kind of player that Balky likes. And I feel like Trayvon Walker at number 1 overall would be a very Jacksonville Jaguars-like move, and that's why I have it here. This is the first time, surprisingly, they've ever had the number 1 overall pick in our franchise history, or the second time, right?
Oh, and then you'd think they'd have it like 10 times.
Yeah, and you would think that they had a more, but this just seems like a move that they would do, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing Shad Khan wants Aiden Hutchinson. Trayvon Walker is wanted by Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke usually has thresholds on arm length specifically, and I think he'd rather draft a freak athlete over a more of a technician and guy that has to work on fundamentals. I think he'd rather teach somebody fundamentals and have them with that rare athleticism. To me, I would rather have maybe a Kayvon Thibodeau who's proven it a bit more, but still has that freak athleticism and freak talent. But Trayvon Walker seems to be the name that they really like there, so that's what it sounds like they're going to go do. For the Lions, we've been hearing it's like, okay, if Aiden Hutchinson falls there, that's the pick. Michigan guy, feels right. Dan Campbell, feels like a Dan Campbell guy. He just wants somebody that can plug and play. And to me, they shouldn't be selecting a quarterback, and I don't think they will because they have so many holes in their roster. And from what we've been hearing is they like Jared Goff. They really do like Jared Goff and believe that they can win with him. I think that keeps Jared Goff's job for another year, and maybe with the last pick in the first round, we see if we can go quarterback. But at this spot, I think we just have to go best player available for them, and I'm taking Aiden Hutchinson, number 2 overall. I think that's where they're going to end up going.
And I think that's a really smart move too, keeping him in Michigan. And it sets up an interesting scenario for the Texans at number 3. Because, I mean, you got a lot of great players available. You have, obviously, Evan Neal, you have Stingley, Booth, you got Thibodeau, all guys that will, fit and help the Texans. Also, Kyle Hamilton up there on the board. But I think that the Texans will try to help their pass rush, and I think they go with Thibodeau here at number 3. I think he's a pretty good prospect. He kind of fits what the Texans need. He's a perfect cornerstone to build a defense around, and I think that number 3 is where he's going to be taken by the Texans. So
the Texans kind of don't really know where they're exactly at because they do need a ton of players and a ton of positions. From what I've been hearing, it's Kyle Hamilton is where they've been leaning, but honestly, I think they might think that they can get Kyle Hamilton at 13 still because of how, I want to say poorly he did at the combine, but his testing numbers weren't great. We'll say that. I think that they think they'll be safely able to get him or one of those top 2 cornerbacks with the 13th overall pick. Going to the Jets, honestly, I've just been seeing the speculation right now over the past couple of days about them selecting a cornerback, and that cornerback being Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner out of Cincinnati. I mean, I saw a thing, a graphic, his passer rating, freshman year, like 21.2, sophomore year, 22.9, and then 0 his junior year. There's a 0 passer rating, like nobody got anything on him. To me, they have a lot more needs. And if Thibodeau was here, I think this is where he goes, but he's already off the board. I think that they go try to get themselves a shutdown corner in Ahmad Gardner right here. I think that's where the Jets' philosophy, they think they can get better on offense through just reps, and they have the right guys in there. They need guys on defense. Their secondary isn't atrocious, but it's not strong at all. I think they try to get themselves a shutdown corner, and then at pick 10, potentially an edge rusher. But we'll see how the board falls. You up with the Giants at number 5. What do you think the Giants are going to do?
Now, the Giants are in a good position once again because a lot of players available. I mean, if they want, they could take Kyle Hamilton and bolster that defense. But I think they'll go with the offensive line right here. I think this is a great spot for Evan Neal to go. And I think that the Giants will gladly take him if he's available here at 5.
I put him on that right side. Andrew Thomas is looking more comfortable every single game on the left side. Build that offensive line. Give something for Saquon to run through. Give him some breathing room. And Daniel Jones doesn't feel like he's a successor. He doesn't feel like he's going to be there long term, but there's not a great quarterback option in this class. Now going to the Panthers. There's reports coming out this morning that said they were not going to trade for a quarterback. They were not going to trade for Baker Mayfield specifically. I don't know if that's reading into it where we think that they're just going to not trade for somebody because they want to select somebody, or if they're comfortable enough with running it back with Sam Darnold, which I don't believe they are. And because I don't believe they are, I think that they're going to draft a quarterback of the future, and that quarterback's going to be Malik Willis. And in my opinion, that would be a little bit of a reach there, but we've seen Matt Rule run his operation, hasn't been the most smooth. We already know Sam Darnold's not really the guy. They're looking for his replacement. Defense is solid enough where they don't need to take anybody there. The only other pick that I could see them going is potentially a Charles Cross or Ike Ekwonu to bolster up that offensive line. But I think they try to go explosive. They have Robbie Anderson. They have DJ Moore. Put Malik Willis in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey. I think you're going to have some sparks fly. And they were in on the Deshaun Watson stuff for a long time, so I think that they potentially see Malik Willis in that same light where he can potentially do that kind of thing. But he's going to have to, honestly, he's going to have to sit at least half the year, if not the whole year, just to acclimate to NFL play. From going from Liberty to the NFL is going to take a little bit of time. But I think they're going to take quarterback just to Matt Rule try to elongate his tenure as the Carolina Panthers head coach.
Yeah, that would be quite the interesting pick there because, I mean, we've talked multiple times on, some of these episodes and, before and after shows where neither of us are really high on these quarterbacks at all. I mean, to us, no surefire products in past years. But Malik Willis, he's a project, and at 6, that maybe would solve Carolina's quarterback issues. I mean, they've been a mess ever since, Cam Newton has departed them. But now the Giants at number 7, they, fill a big hole by getting Evan Neal at pick number 5. But now, 2 picks later, they, could get another cornerstone. But on the other side of the ball, I think that this would be an excellent spot for Kyle Hamilton to go, and it would fit a huge need. Yeah, there was, all the talk about his underwhelming, I think is the best word for his combine. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, he's a freak. He's a stud. You said in the last episode, you don't see safeties like this anymore. 6'4". He's just so quick. Didn't really show it at the combine, but when you watch some of his game speed, I mean, he shows it. And yeah, I think that this would be a great spot for him. And yeah, they could really use him. I think that a player like this is necessary for the Giants to, show any sign of positive trending growth, because I mean, they've been in hell. I feel like, for the past 5 years. When's the last time they made the playoffs? 2016, I think, something like that. So yeah, they've been in a bad situation, and I think Kyle Hamilton is really a player that can get them trending in the right direction.
I really like that pick, and I think that they would go there because they really do bet on athletes and with elite traits. Hamilton has elite tape. Didn't really match the athleticism, but I think they'll go with his game speed and like enough what they've seen on them to be comfortable taking him there at 7. Now moving to number 8, the Falcons. They have a ton of needs. Filled the quarterback position somewhat. They have to go with receiver because they literally have nobody. Gage left to Tampa Bay, I believe. You have Calvin Ridley suspended for the year. Olamide, I want to say, Zacharias. I want to say that's the name. That's their wide receiver 1 right now. I don't think that's a guy. He's a good third receiver. He should not be your number 1. He's a more 3 or 4 kind of guy. To me, you have to give somebody Mariota to throw to because right now they really don't have anybody on that. They have Cordell Patterson. That's about it.
And Pitts. That's about it.
Oh, and Kyle Pitts, yes. I think you get another weapon. You already have your big guy in Kyle Pitts. I think pairing him up with Drake London would be fun. But I think that they go with a little bit more speed and route running ability. I think they go Garrett Wilson. They add him to the mix. They have a good route runner. They have a speed receiver. Now you have Kyle Pitts, who is speed, but he's also huge. You get 2 weapons for Mariota along with Cordell Patterson, and potentially in the second round, that's when you start hitting defense. But they have so many needs where they just have to take potentially best player available that can make an impact this year. And we've seen receivers over the past couple of years make impacts immediately. So I think that's the route that the Falcons are going to go, but they really do need to add to that receiver position.
Yeah, I like that pick there for the Falcons. And then here at number 9 for the Seahawks, everyone knows I am not high on Drew Lock at all. But I just don't think that there's a quarterback worth taking here at 9 for the Hawks. So we're going to go with Ike Ekwonu out of NC State here. He'll help that line tremendously in Seattle. I mean, they're in full rebuilding mode. That's not really a question, but Ike Ekwonu, he's a player that could really help this rebuild and maybe help Seattle return to their glory that they once were about 10 years ago. But
I think they're going to fall back in the mediocrities that they had until the early 2000s.
About the 7, there's 6 and 10, 7 and 9 years.
Yeah, the pre-Matt Hasselbeck years. That's what we'll call them. But yeah, they have a long ways to go. Rebuilding the offensive line is definitely going to help out Drew Lock or whoever is behind there, but they have so many needs, and Russell Wilson was carrying them for so many years that it's going to take a few drafts to get back to where they once were. Now moving on to number 10 with the Jets. We already took Ahmad Gardner. I'm really tempted to think they would go O-line because we don't really see them liking Mekhi Becton that much. We don't see them all in as we thought they'd be. They started to rebuild the offensive line last year. But there's also Jermaine Johnson, who I really think that they would take because you pair Quinnen Williams with them. You get Carl Lawson coming back off of his injury. If you get another guy coming off the edge, that can be potentially like a game wrecker where you have to cover these guys. You have to block these guys one-on-one, and that's not always going to happen. To me, it's real. I'm fighting between Jermaine Johnson and Charles Cross on who they would take. Because I think that they think, okay, we have enough in Carl Lawson coming back that we don't have to hit that immediately. We can wait till day 2. I think that's where they go. Potentially also like sneaky, they might take a receiver right here. But I think this draft is so deep with receiver that they're comfortable taking one with their early second-round picks with one of them. To me, I'm going to take edge. I'm going to take Jermaine Johnson. I just like him so much. To pair him on that defense, give Robert Saleh another weapon to use. You really are building on the defense in this one, and maybe they get like a Zach Tom and they get somebody in that second round where they get protection. But to me, the Jets, they need to really bolster that defense and their offense. We'll see if they trade for a receiver potentially, but for right now, I think Jermaine Johnson is the way that they're going to go.
Yeah, I like that pick there for the Jets. And then number 11 here for the Washington Commanders. They got a lot of options on the table. I mean, two of their biggest needs, receiver and corner. They got two of the best corners, and they got Jameson Williams, Drake London, pretty much any wide receiver that they would like. But as you stated in the Jets pick, the receiver depth is really great, and Washington could potentially snag someone later, but they can't snag someone at the quality of either Stingley or Booth later in this draft. So I'm going to go with Stingley here at number 11 for the Washington football team. He could be a nice cornerstone there in the secondary for the Commanders. And while I think that Williams or Drake London would have been a good fit. I just think that, like I said, it's hard to pass up on corners like this when there are two corners like this that are available. It's hard to find later in the draft, and these guys are probably going to be taken in the next 5 to 10 picks anyway. So,
yeah, that's exactly who I think the Vikings would take at 12 if he was there. Goes at number 11 to Washington. I think that's definitely a move Washington would do. Losing, who did they lose? They lost somebody, I believe. They're really good on offense. I think they're very much dependent on what Carson Wentz looks like, kind of like how he was with the Colts. The Colts had a great team around him. Just what does Carson Wentz bring to the table? I think similar thing in Washington is going to happen. It's like their offense is as good as Carson Wentz can be because they have all the weapons already. Adding Drake London to that speed in that receiver room would be fun, but you have Derek Stingley coming off that freshman year tape, really, is what he's getting drafted off of. Stupid athleticism, crazy athleticism. You have Chase Young on that defense. Just keep stacking it. Eventually, it'll have to all be put together. Really would have liked a quarterback there, but they're just, as we said, there's not one I think that they would take. But yeah, Derek Stingley, perfect fit for them. Number 12 now. Minnesota. What would they do here? Top two corners on the board. I think Booth, it's a little bit early to take him. I think he's more of a 15 to 20 guy. Daxton Hill, I do like him. I just don't know if that's a huge need for them right now. Devontae Wyatt, I do like. He's 24. Jordan Davis, this might be where he goes. We got Thielen, and he's getting a little bit older, but you already have Justin Jefferson. Honestly, this might be a spot where Jameson Williams does go. They can rehab him. They already have two good receiving options. You bring him as a third. That'll be crazy. Fun to watch. They want impact. Danielle Hunter's coming back. I think maybe they do go interior offensive line. Yeah, I think they take Trace, and I think they're going to go Jordan Davis. His athleticism, his off-the-charts number, his ability just to stop the run and wreck a game real quick. I think they're going to bet on that, and he has all the ability to be a extremely dominant, like Vince Wilfork type player. And I think that's what they're going to bet on. They already have a solid offense. Just make that defense as good as it can be. To me, Jordan Davis is where they would select somebody like that.
Yeah, I like that pick right there. So then now next for the Texans, they're up once again. And yeah, they could, there's a few places where they could go right here. And I know you said that, Booth is probably going to go in that 15 to 20 range, but I think the Texans would take him here at 13. He's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside. His tape was pretty damn good. And I think that, the Texans, they would feel too tempted to take him here at 13 if he was available.
Cornerback, they already got Thibodeau, rebuild that defense, and let Davis Mills light it up.
Yes, sir. That's what he does best.
All right. So actually, Booth I might have taken right here at 13. McDuffie does feel like a need for them because I believe that they don't have a slot guy right now. And McDuffie will be able to play inside or outside. I don't know. Maybe Kyler Gordon might be their second-round pick. I just don't know. Interior guys, I do like Kenyon Green and Tyler Linderbaum, I just don't think that's a huge need for them. They brought back Calais Campbell. I think they take McDuffie. I think that's where they're going to end up going. Get a slot guy, get somebody that can go all over, keep that defense up. A sneaky one might be receiver, but they have Hollywood Brown already, who I think they're still trusting, and Rashad Bateman's coming back. Rashad Bateman's going to have a full healthy offseason, and hopefully he'll put it all together. I think they go with defense. They've lost a few cornerbacks. They need to replenish. Their defense has been their backbone and their identity for a lot of years. They're going to try to get back up to where they used to be. I think that starts with getting another corner right there. So McDuffie going number 14 to the Ravens. I think that's the selection they'll make if the board falls this way.
And then now the Philadelphia Eagles at number 15. I think that they're going to pair up Devontae Smith's old college teammate with him, and going to go with Jameson Williams at another weapon on the offensive side of the ball there in Philadelphia. I mean, we know that they're not the highest on Jalen Hurts, but I still do think that he will be the starter in week 1. And if they truly want to see what they have in him, they're going to have to give him more weapons. So Williams there at 15 for the Eagles.
I can definitely see them going there. And did you see the video that was posted yesterday about Jameson Williams' update? Doing squats now, he's running, doing lateral movement already.
Yeah.
The dude's on another level. And I don't know if he'll be back by training camp, but it looks like he may be like ready to go like for week 1, which is crazy to think that's the way the ACLs are now, where it's just kind of like a bump in the road instead of, he might not be run the same, he might not move the same. And I was kind of like just like Tommy John, where guys get it, they just return the next season and don't really think nothing of it anymore. An interesting person I think would also be in the mix for them would be like a Drake London. Like you said, Jalen Hurts isn't the most accurate guy. And I think that very much, you get him a big body 50-50 receiver, I think that'll fit very well within what the Eagles do. But now going to the Saints. This board actually falls pretty perfect for them. They have the chance at receiver. I think that's going to wait till pick 19. We'll see. But they keep rebuilding the offensive line. It's been a strength for them. Get a guy that you can trust, and one of the top guys, where I think he can probably end up going top 10. Just that's not how this fell. Charles Cross, Mississippi State. He's a dog. He's a guy. Nasty finisher. Good technique. He's going to be really solid, if not great, for them over the next few years, and give Jameis Winston his best chance to succeed. We'll see what Dennis Allen does with his second head coaching opportunity, but to me, that's kind of where they have to go. They did lose Marcus Williams, which is going to hurt them on the back end, but I think helping out their offensive line is definitely the way to go to get this new regime started.
Yeah, I like that pick right there. Here for the Chargers at 17, they use this pick to bolster their defense, more specifically their defensive line. Devontae Wyatt here at 17 for the Chargers adds to that defensive line. They added Khalil Mack in the offseason, and altogether they also added J.C. Jackson. That defense, is what needed to be improved from last season, and the Chargers this offseason went out and they did it. They're one of the scarier teams in the AFC, in my opinion, but we'll have to see because, at the end of the day, Chargers going to Charger. But, this is a good move for them, I think, because, their defense, if their defense starts, playing on a level that we haven't seen, under Herbert, and they start playing like a top 10 defense, maybe like that team could be scary altogether because Herbert, he could put up 30 plus on you a game. So, this will be a big pick for the Chargers to get their defense on the right track.
And I definitely see them going that way because of what Brandon Staley did with the Rams. We saw him have a shutdown corner in Ramsey. That's who they hope J.C. Jackson is going to be. They have a dominant defensive line now, like the Rams did, and he has Derwin James. So he has his chess pieces now that he didn't have his first year as head coach, or his first couple years as head coach. It's the Chargers, as you said. They're always supposed to be good. And then somehow they just end up just missing the playoffs. or they make it in, they get kicked in the first round. There's always something where it's just like they should be better than they actually are. But I think Devontae White helps out with that a ton. I believe it's on Sebastian Joseph Day. You have Khalil Mack and Bosa on the outside. That's going to be oof. You're going to have a good offensive line in the AFC West. Moving to pick number 18 with the Eagles. We already got Jameson Williams for them a few picks ago. To me, you get Jason Kelsey's replacement right now and Tyler Linderbaum. Easily my favorite player in the draft. He's just so fun to watch. Wrestler when he was in high school, obviously, like most of the Iowa guys. And can start at guard for you there his first year. Slide over to center once Jason Kelsey, I assume, will retire because I believe he's like 37 now. 38, somewhere in that range. He can play guard for you at a great level. Move him to center. Going to play that at a extremely high level too. To me, you get your center of the future. Not a sexy pick, but a very functional pick for him.
Yeah, I like that pick right there. Here for the New Orleans Saints at number 19. I think they'll go receiver. It's a hard choice between either Drake London or Chris Olave. But how tall is Michael Thomas? He's like 6'3".
Like 6'2", 6'3", but more of a possession receiver.
Yeah, more of a possession receiver. You got Drake London, who's a big body, but I think they go Chris Olave here because, just his speed and his route running is something that will, I think, definitely help Jameis. Jameis does like to throw it deep when he has the opportunity, and Olave could give him those opportunities time and time again.
And it really does open up Michael Thomas, too, because if you have some guy that you have to worry about going deep, you can get Michael Thomas coming over the middle, going over these short routes that he's so great at running. Now we get to the Steelers, and they do have needs. Corner, safety, Daxton Hill potentially there. I just don't think they go there. To me, they're going to grab a quarterback. They're going to – Kenny Pickett had a Joe Burrow type season stat-wise. Put up crazy numbers, low interception, high touchdown rate, making all the passes as a sixth-year quarterback, which you assume. I think before the season he had 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for 2 straight seasons. But put it all together this season, I believe it was 42 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, 42 and 6, somewhere around there. Put it all together. You keep the guy in Pittsburgh. Fans already like him enough to where it's not going to be horrible. You have Mitch Trubisky. I think he'll be able to beat out Mitch. And to me, this is where the Steelers would go with this pick, where you can get somebody who can just be really solid. We saw what they did with a very old and not as skilled anymore Ben Roethlisberger. If you can just have a functional quarterback in that position, they can go a long ways. So I think they take the safe pick for them in Kenny Pickett, and he's already proven to be able to play in that weather. So I don't think that's going to be a big hurdle for them to come across. I think Kenny Pickett, this is where he ends up going to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I do like that pick right there. Keeping Kenny, in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, he's an interesting one. And it's funny too, because, I know you're not the highest on him and you think he shouldn't even sniff close to the 20th pick, but it is something the Steelers would most likely do. And I feel like that, would be an ideal situation for him. He wouldn't have to leave too far. And he wouldn't have to leave like at all. But here for the Patriots at 21, they could either work on the offensive line, they could add a receiver, they could add a linebacker. But I'm going to go with, I don't know if it's considered a surprise pick here, but we're going to go Drake London here at 21 for the Patriots. Add a weapon there for the Patriots because I feel like they just kind of lack some receivers. They just traded for Devontae Parker. But, I feel like having Drake London would definitely make that offense a lot more scary because I feel like that offense doesn't really they don't really strike too much fear in the heart of other defenses, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you give Mac Jones a 50-50 ball guy, and it's going to be work out great. But yeah, they had like a lot of number two receivers, if that makes sense. They had Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, all guys that would be great in a number two role, but none of them really stepped up to be that number one main guy. If you get Drake London in there, I think he's going to steal a lot of those 50-50 balls, and it's going to be more like 70-30 when you throw it to him. You have Damian Harris. They have building a big physical offense. Potentially do add a linebacker right there. But Devin Lloyd's testing numbers weren't great. N'Kobe Dean, potentially second round. We'll see. I think you can get there's so much linebacker depth where I think that a lot of these guys are going to end up going in the second round because nobody feels like they have to reach for one. But now going to the Green Bay, Devontae Adams out. They haven't brought anybody in. To me, clear and obvious need. It's just who do they take? Do they like Traylon Burks and his speed and his breakaway speed? To me, I was reading about that he came in a little bit overweight for his combine training. So I don't think they want that. Want somebody with a good work ethic. There's been rumblings about something with Christian Watson. I don't think that's where they end up going, even though he has great tape or solid tape and then like crazy combine numbers. I think right here they go George Pickens, huge receiver out of Georgia, would have easily been in the first round conversation in the top three receiver conversation had he been healthy all year. But I think he's going to be right here. If he's here for the Packers, I think that's a no-brainer for them. You get a big physical wide receiver, which they like, and he has speed. Big target for Aaron Rodgers. Can plug and play immediately. To me, the Packers will be running in with this pick if he's still there at 22.
Yeah, I like that pick too. It's funny. I saw something today that showed that a lot of executives really they aren't the highest on Pickens for off the field reasons, and they were describing though that if it wasn't for these off the field reasons, that they said that he's an easy top 10 prospect. Just the way that how much of an athletic freak he is. He can make all the catches, his speed, his size. And I think that if he pans out well, stays healthy, stays out of trouble for the Packers, I think that would be an insane weapon for Aaron Rodgers. There at number
two over what is it? Appleton, Wisconsin.
What was that?
What else is there to do with Appleton, Wisconsin? I think. Like, how can you get in trouble over there?
Yeah, not much. But yeah, great pick there for the Packers at 22. Now for the Cardinals at pick number 23. I mean, they had a season where a lot went wrong at the end of last year. I don't think that I would add a receiver because hopefully Hopkins comes back healthy for them. But I do think they will add an edge. And for some reason, I just feel like David Ojabo feels like a Cardinals pick. Feels like the Cardinals, they're very weird sometimes when they draft. And I just feel like this pick would be one that they would make here, especially at the 23 spot.
You got Ojabo tested well. They did just lose Chandler Jones, so maybe they will be looking to refill that role. Put him next to J.J. Watt. Anybody next to J.J. Watt will probably succeed, even at J.J. Watt's age. As long as he can stay on the field, it'll be great for them. Move to the Cowboys now. Having an edge here, Karlaftis, maybe. To me, they are very much in play for Christian Watson because Jerry Jones, to me, is very much an Al Davis type of owner where, hey, I like this size, speed, capability. You can't find another. You can't replicate this. And so I'm going to take a chance on him. To me, that's Jerry Jones is very much in that realm. I don't think they go that direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's on, like, they're in their top three. Jackson Hill would definitely be interesting here, would help them out a ton on the back end. They have Trevon Diggs, who's you either love him or hate him, honestly. To me, you got to go edge here. And I think they go Arnold Ebiketie. I think that's where they go. Really solid guy out of Penn State. Really good really good numbers overall. I think that the Cowboys are looking for somebody that's just going to be able to make a difference on that defense because we saw their offense. Their offense can put up numbers. Their offense can do a lot, but it was a lot of they were getting 40 points scored on them, 30 points scored on them, a ton over the season. They were having to come back or they were blowing leads late. To me, you get another difference maker. You get Micah Parsons. You already have Micah Parsons. You get another guy that can rush with him, and you try to make the other team throw the ball when they don't want to, and that's when Trevon Diggs' ball hawking ability will hopefully come into play because the quarterbacks are going to be having to make quicker decisions. So they continue to build on that pass rush and get Arnold Ebiketie out of Penn State.
Here at number 25 for the Buffalo Bills, they actually take who you thought the Cowboys could have taken. Christian Watson here at 25, just added weapon on that offense with speed. That offense is already scary looking. That defense is already scary looking. They might, on paper, they're probably the best team, top to bottom on paper in the AFC, at least. Maybe, top 3 in the whole NFL. And yeah, that offense, you add another speed weapon, Josh Allen. I mean, he's got a friggin' cannon, and he'll find ways to find Watson down the field.
Yeah, I can definitely see them going that direction. Adding another big play receiver. He did have a little trouble with drops, but I think that's more of just I think their concentration drops for one. Excuse me. And also in that offense, they don't throw the ball a ton, so his drop rate is going to just look higher just because he does every drop counts for a higher percentage. Now moving on to the Tennessee Titans. They have A.J. Brown, who I assume is going to get his contract. They traded for Robert Woods, so they got a couple weapons for Tannehill to throw to. You already have the best running back in the game, in my opinion, Derrick Henry in the backfield. Defense is pretty solid. To me, this is the way you continue to build that offensive line. There are no tackles I really like here. I think they take Kenyon Green, continue to build that offensive line, just get better, get fresh legs for Derrick Henry to run into, have him run behind, and just bolster this offense where you can give Tannehill enough time to make these get the ball to A.J. Brown, get the ball to Robert Woods.
Yeah, I like that pick right there. It's funny, for the Titans. In my opinion, they got to be definitely one of the weaker 1 seeds in recent years for a conference. What do you think?
It was just a weird year.
It was.
No one really
first
felt
year
like
of the 17-game season. It was bound to be a little bit of a strange year, but yeah, who would have thought Tennessee got the 1 seed? But yeah, they got bounced right away. But here for the Bucks at number 27, I mean, there's a lot of different directions they can maybe try to go right here. Brady coming back, but I think they'll go with the interior of the offensive line because they had, I think, a retirement or 2 on that offensive line.
Yeah, I believe Ollie Marpet.
Yeah, so we're going to go with Zion Johnson here to help the interior. So,
no, I love that. I like that move for them. This is definitely an area where I see them going to very easily. And if he didn't go here, I honestly think the Packers would have taken him right here. This is a pick, honestly, I think the Packers trade out of just so they can get a couple picks in the second round. Potentially we see maybe like the Jets or somebody like that move up here, or even the Lions move up here to try to take somebody. But we already got receiver. We got George Pickens. Do we double up at receiver? That's the question. So who are there? I know Amari Rodgers. They have Allen Lazard. Maybe they do go like a Sky Moore here, Jahan Dotson. I don't think Calvin Austin's worked his way up there. Edge. Definitely could see them doing something here. Let's see, tackle. Trevor Penning, to me, shouldn't be as high as he is. I think he potentially will go in the first round, but from what we saw at the Senior Bowl and how he was at Northern Iowa, I don't know. I don't think the Packers would be the most comfortable taking him right there at that spot. I'm really I'm really debating on whether to give them another receiver because they need it. They need weapons for Aaron Rodgers. But I think they get the pass rush and get a solid run stopper in George Karlaftis out of Purdue. Really good player. They're going to plug and play him. He's going to be a rotational piece, but we saw the offense. As long as you have Aaron Rodgers running the offense, it's going to be perfectly fine. You're going to get your points. They just have to continue to build on that defense. They already have the safety. They already have the cornerbacks, enough cornerbacks. I think they keep building this defensive line, and potentially this is a spot for a linebacker, but I don't see them going that direction. I think they go Karlaftis out of Purdue.
Here for the Chiefs at number 29. They need to try to fill the void left by Tyreek Hill after that trade. So we're going to go Treylon Burks out of Arkansas here for the Chiefs. An interesting pick, but I think it's one that the Chiefs would make, and it would kind of fit what they're trying to build on offense.
You get a big body guy to replace him. All right. Potentially speed with Jahan Dawson or Sky Moore there, but Treylon Burks, I mean, he definitely belongs in the conversation. Didn't put up great testing numbers, but if you turn on his tape, he's outrunning everybody. So there has to be speed there somewhere. Chiefs picking back-to-back, obviously. Cornerback, is there anybody? There is. I think Daxton Hill would be a great pick for them just because you can move him around a whole bunch. Put him in that Tyrann Mathieu role where you kind of just have him. He's just good in coverage. And no real maybe Boye Mafe, speed edge rusher, give you what D Ford was supposed to give you. I think if it comes down to it, I think Daxton Hill is going to be the spot right there. He's going to be the replacement. They did bring in Reed from the Houston Texans. I'm forgetting his first name right now. They brought him in to be the safety. I think that's going to work out well. I think they just work well with three safeties back there. If you have Thornhill, you have Reed, and now you're going to have Daxton Hill. You're going to have a lot of variety that you have in that back end of that defense. I think that's what the Chiefs really want to do. So I think that they will take Daxton Hill if he falls to them at number 30.
Here at 31, I know that, I think he's more of a second round prospect, but I could see him going here at the end of the first round. Trevor Penning on the offensive line for the Bengals. They need to try to build it. I mean, Joe Burrow is on the ground every other play of that playoffs, and they need to make sure that does not happen again. So while, it could be a little bit of a reach, Penning here at 31 for the Bengals.
All right, now to the last pick of the draft. We have the last pick of the first round, my bad. We have the Detroit Lions. All the way at number 2, they took Aiden Hutchinson. Now they have the pick of, will they go best player available? Will they add a receiver? Will they add maybe a potential like Lewis Sign? I think that would be a great pick for them. Sign also might have gone to the Chiefs. I think it's just whatever they're going to like better. Whoever they have higher on their board, that's who they're going to take. McCreary, to me, this is where you take a shot on a quarterback. And you already have Jared Goff. I just don't know which quarterback they would go to. I think we're going to do Desmond Raider. It's either Ritter or Corral. I don't like most of them, but to me, these are the two guys where I'm taking them back half. I'm taking them either back half the first round or second round. I'm comfortable taking them there. I know that they can run an offense. They've shown it for years. Corral in the SEC. Ritter, 4-year starter at Cincinnati, held his own when he did play up against bigger opponents. And to me, he'd have to sit a little bit where I think Corral doesn't have to sit for as long. Also, I think Corral he's in play for the Saints just to see what the Saints do. But right here, I think the Lions, they bet on athleticism and what he's done production-wise. Let him sit behind Jared Goff. Let him sit and learn from him as much as he can, and eventually probably going to become their starter somewhere near the middle of the year. I think Desmond Ritter is going to come in. and he's going to be the last pick of the first round.
There we go.
There we go. That concludes it. We did leave some guys on the board. Definitely Boye Mafe, Charles Dawson, Sky Moore, McCreary, and a few other guys that I'm just not picking up right now, but we'll see what happens. Did this April 25th. Draft is April 28th. How you feel about it, David?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. It's kind of funny. This year I'm not as hyped for the draft as in recent years. But it's weird because Colts never have a first round pick. But and also too, this draft is interesting because I guess for most common football fans, they're not going to be as excited because the quarterbacks aren't as good. But besides quarterbacks, this draft is pretty good. The depth in a lot of positions is awesome. Receiver depth is great, and that's what I'm hoping is available there at 42 for the Colts. But we'll have to see. It's going to be really interesting. The top 10 picks are going to kind of be telling on what the way that this draft's going to go. It's either going to, be okay, this is going how we expected it to, or after those first, 10 picks are going to be okay. We have no clue what's about to go on. Buckle up. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, so am I. We'll see how it falls. I think it's definitely not having our teams in the first round, coupled with there not being really high-end quarterbacks and stuff like that. I think that's what's kind of having the draft not have that real feel to it, like excitement. But hey, there's still players to be taken. Colts potentially taking a quarterback with that pick. I think Ritter or Corral makes it to them. And I think if either of those two do, that's where they definitely should go, to be able to learn from Matt Ryan for a couple years. And I don't know, they don't really have huge needs, the Colts.
Yeah, no glaring holes, just a few things that they could, receiver, they could add a little more help there.
Same thing, a guy in the third round.
But yeah, like in Ballard too, the GM, that his money rounds are rounds 2 to 4. If most Colts fans know that rounds 2, 3, and 4 are his money rounds, and a lot of the starters on the team are from those rounds right there that he drafted. So that's where he'll do his damage. And it's an interesting draft as a Colts fan because being in that position again, it's almost like a Rivers situation where we know Matt Ryan's not a long-term answer, but I do expect him to play more than 1 year because that's only what Rivers played. But we'll have to see. And I guess, Ritter or Corral would not be happy with my team if that's who my starter was going to be this upcoming season. But, the situation you're talking about, if they have to sit a year or two, that's probably ideal because that's what all these guys need in this draft, at least the quarterbacks.
All right. I'm going to read the names off just in case you're listening to this for what teams took what player, just so we know exactly what order. You don't have to write it down or nothing. And then we'll get out of here. So we got the Jaguars taking Travon Walker, number 1 overall. Aiden Hutchinson going 2 to the Lions. Thibodeau going 3 to the Texans. Ahmad Gardner going number 4 to the Jets. 5, Giants take Evan Neal. Panthers at number 6 take Malik Willis. At number 7, the Giants take Kyle Hamilton. Number 8, Falcons take Garrett Wilson. Number 9, Seattle Seahawks take Ike Ekwonu. 10, Jermaine Johnson to the New York Jets. 11, Derek Stingley Jr. to the Washington, as it says on here, but it's the Washington Commanders. Number 12, Jordan Davis to the Vikings. 13, for the Texans' second pick, Andrew Booth Jr. Number 14, Baltimore Ravens select Trent McDuffie. 15, Jamison Williams to the Eagles. 16, Charles Cross to the Saints. 17, Devontae Wyatt to the Chargers. 18, Tyler Linderbaum to the Eagles. 19, Chris Olave to the Saints. 20, Kenny Pickett to the Steelers, stays in Pittsburgh. 21, Drake London to the Patriots. 22, George Pickens to the Packers. 23, David Ojabo to the Cardinals. 24, Ebiketie, there we go, to the Cowboys at number 24, Ebiketie. 25, Buffalo Bills select Christian Watson. 26, Tennessee Titans take Kenyon Green. 27, Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Zion Johnson. Number 28, the Packers take George Karlaftis. 29, Traylon Burks goes to the Chiefs. 30 for the Chiefs, also Daxton Hill. So back-to-back, Traylon Burks, Daxton Hill to the Chiefs. 31, Trevor Penning to help shore up that line for the Bengals. And number 32 overall, Desmond Raider goes to Detroit Lions. We'll see how accurate this is. And until we talk to you guys next time, peace out and have a good one.